Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the podcast for our law firm, the Immigration Law Offices of Hadley Bajramovic. Welcome back. I'm Hadley Bajramovic, Senior Attorney and CEO, and joining me today is Veronica Solis, E-2 Investor Visa Specialist. Veronica and I are going to discuss current political news in Mexico. I'm sure we all know what we're talking about, and how it may affect those looking forward to traveling and investing in the United States. So, Veronica,
Hi, Hadley. Nice
hi.
to be with you again.
Nice to see you. Veronica and I talked about the E-2 and the benefits and the equities and the outcomes of E-2 visas in Mexico. They're highly successful. Let's go over them first, and then we'll talk about what's going on in Mexico. And I mentioned this in the last podcast. I met your husband, Jorge, at the consulate. He was looking for solutions. We talked about the E-2, and even, that was around 2019, 18, because it was the last presidential election with AMLO. So we started going over the E2, and everybody we talked with in Mexico, you and I and Jorge, were like, this is either the golden goose or the biggest scam. Because people couldn't believe that they could just start a business with a really low investment and get an E2 visa. So remember back then, I think it was for 1 year. And
Yeah,
then,
it was for 1 year
yes, and
before for Mexican nationals.
so that was actually something Trump did, was he
Yeah,
extended it to 4 years.
that's correct.
So now, Veronica, you and I have had a lot of success with many different types of businesses. I mean, just, for our viewers, talk about some of the businesses that have been granted E2s, and let's talk about their investments too, because again, people don't believe how
No.
little they have to invest.
Yeah, exactly, Hadley. As you mentioned, the E2 investor visa, which is one of the treaty programs that has Mexico with the US and another 76 countries, right? So it's really good to be true. I know people, when I talk to it and I explain the process, they say, no, that's too good to be true. How you can do a business with like $40,000 and you can be able to go, live, do a life in the US, travel freely, bring your dependents, and the spouses can work whenever they want. So it's a really flexible process that the US is giving to those 78 countries. And I know it's hard to believe, but it's real. As you mentioned, we had a lot of success cases, and there are more coming. And people, when they go through the process and they see that this is possible, and this is not like a scam or lies, this is really possible. And they're so happy and they really believe the big opportunity that they have here in the US. Like, you don't need to immigrate if you don't want to. That's one
Right.
of the beauty of this process, because as a Mexicans, we love our country and we want to be free. We want to go back and forth and maybe live a part of the time here and still having our life in Mexico. So that's one of the beauty of this process, right? The investment, I know there is a lot of numbers throwing in the air, but even if you go to the webpage from the government, the US government, you can see there is no an amount. It's depending on the business. It has to be just substantial through the business that you're doing, right? Like if it's a consulting company, a retail store, or a car wash, mobile service, maybe a bakery, like it depends. It depends.
And sells
Yep.
them to local bakeries.
Yes.
I mean, that's as small business as you come, right?
Exactly. It's important to obviously improve the economy, the local economy of where you're going to open your business. The ways that you can improve the economy is either give, like, offer jobs, like employ people, or bring more people, like tourism, like, create a economical movement, a lot of money around. So that makes another good option for the business. And we have also like logistic companies, like sushi restaurants or big restaurants in New York City. Like the
Yeah.
industries can be so open. Like there is no a specific one or the best one. It just has to be real and operating after obviously you get approved. But also if you have already a business operating, it can work for the visa as well, because there is people that they have companies here, they have a business already, even if they live in Mexico or they get paid in Mexico. So that also can work.
And we all collaborated with Vero Ilola.
Yes,
They're
influencers.
influencers, yes, on Instagram. And we purposefully had advised them to invest the lowest amount possible. And they documented their journey, their E-2 journey on Instagram. And if nothing else can prove to our potential investors that it works, that'll do it, because you can see them going through the entire journey
Yeah.
on their Instagram page. And I think we have it on ours as well. There's an E2 button, so
Yes.
you can see. And it's also for a non-immigrant visa, one of the fastest. I mean, we can do them in 3 to 6 months.
Yes.
Usually our clients don't move that fast, but it is. I remember, Vera, when we were doing these in COVID, we weren't able to make those
No.
timelines, but now we can.
Yeah, we definitely can. It's a process that doesn't take more, even with the appointment, the interview appointment, more than 6 months. Like that's proof. There's no more
Right.
than 6 months between the preparation.
Will you go over briefly what the preparation is? Well, where do we start? Like, and
Of course,
what do we submit? And just
of
review
course,
that.
of course. After you have a consultation with the team is made by an attorney. It's confirmed by the attorneys and the business consultants. So after you decide your business and you're ready, then we start with the company formation. So we register the company. We get the EIN number, which is the number that you need to file your taxes for that company. And then it starts the marketing research and the business plan. So you're going to answer a few questions regarding the business that you want to open and operate to take us to the path and the state and everything that you want to develop that business. After the business plan is ready, we include also a financial projection of 5 years, which is really important, that part. It's one of the crucial parts of the process because that's the focus for the consuls. When they review the applications, they go straight to that part because that proves the idea and how you want to grow, how you're going to operate your business in the next 5 years. And then we start with the legal part. The legal part is filling out the application, which in this case is only the DS-160, and another one for the applicant that is the DS-156E. Those are the two forms required for the embassy. And then if you have dependents, we do the same forms, the DS-160 for each of them. And when this is ready, also we do a letter to intent to depart because, as you mentioned, it's a non-immigrant visa. So they need to make sure you don't have the intent to stay in the U.S. and you have like attached to your country. So, and we know that's always possible because they all have business in Mexico, life in Mexico, so they're back and forth.
Yeah.
But they just want the proof. And we prepare the binder and we send it electronically to the embassy in Mexico City or in Ciudad Juarez, depending on which one the client choose. And then they schedule the biometrics, and after the review, the application, they give us a interview date for the applicant. Usually goes, depending on the season, between 4 and 8 weeks. That's the range.
Okay. And what about the bank account? We've been having some issues with bank accounts
Yes.
because The investor has to put investment money in a bank account.
Yeah,
Vicky?
you're right. After we register the company, we also open the bank account. If the applicant cannot come, we have digitally options. So we can open electronical bank account with Mercury Bank or other banks that we have already available for our clients because sometimes they cannot travel. So that's another option. And
Yeah.
the money that you mentioned, the investment, it has to be shown in the bank statement of that company in the US on the account in the bank account of that company in the
Yeah.
US. And also we need to prove the funds from where they come. If they come from the company in Mexico or if they come from their personal accounts in Mexico, we need to show them all the path from the money from where it comes.
Yeah, and also I want to make it very clear, and then we'll move on to what's happening in Mexico, that when an individual invests the money, they remain in control of that money.
Yes,
We just like want to put it like where the government can see that it's available, and that's it. But that
yes.
money, never leaves the custody of the applicant.
Yes, that's another really good question that most of the applicants have because it says you put a money as a risk. What they
Hmm.
want to see is that you have the money to operate your business. After you have the visa approved, you can move that money. You can take it out, you can do whatever you want with that money. No one is going to go and audit your
Yeah.
bank account or anything. Of course, if your plan is to renew it, that you can renew it for life, you need to obviously do that business operating and real to have more opportunities to renew it. Yes,
So, Veronica, when we started, doing our tours of Mexico, we were talking about the E2 as being a plan B. And you reached out to me last week and you said it's plan B time again.
it's a little bit sad to hear how the new government, I mean, is Morena, which is the majority right now. It's all Morena. There is no more open opponents. That's what happened. So they took control of the electoral national, which is the thing that we can go and vote and be freely, like democracy. So as they take control of that, there is no more democracy because it's only one party which is controlling everything. And the last thing that happened like 2 weeks ago is the judicial branch. They were like two or three from other parties and they vote for Morena. So what means they have the control of everything. They control the
Okay.
judicial branch, they control the electoral system. So imagine.
There are
That
no checks
means,
and balances.
yeah,
That's a fundamental it's a cornerstone of our democracy in the U.S. is to have checks and balances in the three branches of government.
yes. And the problem is here is just under one. And that was the plan from AMLO since long time ago, and
Hmm.
he got it.
Hmm.
And I know it took 7 years, but it was like not that much time to control. Like he really organized everything very well. And the hope is that the new president, Sheinbaum, tries to do like fair things and not just controlling, but that's the fear. The fear is, like they said, the path is going to be like Venezuela. What is that? That they control everything. They decide about everything, about the business, about the money, about the economy, about the people, and the majority is poor population. So imagine how this is going to start going. I know it's not something from like tomorrow, but it's going to start happening because he promised that to the people, and they have to keep doing it, right?
Okay.
To maintain their power.
So what is Plan B? Like what we talked about was Plan B is a way for people to have a foot in the U.S. and a foot in Mexico.
Exactly. After that happened, it was so curious because a lot of people that I have talked to them about this process, like 1 year ago, 2 years ago, they start reaching out to me again because they're worried. They worry because now they're seeing things are happening so fast. So they said, I don't know what is going to happen. And before that happens, I want to start having something in case I need to leave. Like, in case here the situation is going to start being so difficult and I cannot take more money out, because they want to control even that, your bank accounts. If you have properties in Mexico, it's going to be hard to sell them. So that's why people is starting like to organize a little bit and have another option for them in case this starts going faster and faster.
I think it's a great option too, because you're not saying I don't believe in my country anymore. You're just
No.
saying we're going to put some money over here, like a safety net, and start a business. And it's good for the investor to have a business in the U.S. And then it allows them to just pick up and go to the U.S. without any planning. And work authorization is immediate for the spouse of an E-2
Yeah.
investor. I
Yeah.
mean, for Mexican nationals who've traveled to the U.S. with their visas, they know that they get an I-94, and it says that you've been admitted to the U.S. for 180 days, right?
Yes.
Well, this I-94 will say you are an E-2 spouse, and that document is your proof of work authorization. That's how fast it is. We
Yes.
literally don't have that in any other visa type. And then the E2 investor can also bring in employees from
Yes.
Mexico, so who have the same rights. You know, the spouse can work.
It's
So
it's really an amazing process. It's not difficult as long as you have a business and the
yes,
opportunity to invest. It's a great option. Have a lot of opportunities even for your kids. Like, I know if things go difficult in Mexico, at least they have opportunities here, right? They can study in the schools, they can get like
exactly.
scholarships or going to colleges, different colleges. So it's really having, as we said, a plan B. And if that doesn't work, you can go back and nothing is going to happen.
Yeah, there's no. It's just being able to go back and forth as you like, and even the green card is not that unlimited.
No?
Because if you get a green card, then you must spend, what we recommend is at least 6 months a year in the U.S.
Yes.
With the E2, you can be absent for a year, 2 years, it doesn't matter.
As long as your business keep operating, it's still valid. You don't have to live in the US. That's the other thing. Like, it's just having your business and your opportunity whenever you need. You can come or you can stay in your country.
I mean, if I were Mexican national, I would be doing this. I would. I mean, as an
Definitely.
American, I'm actually applying for a green card in Mexico and found out that, it's not that easy in Mexico either.
No.
But what we're hoping to do today, Vero, is put this out there again. I've been told that YouTube is second to Google in searches. So we're going to make this video as searchable as possible because we
Yes.
know that people still don't know about the E2.
Yes, yes, that's always what I said. We just did two webinars, like one last week and one 2 weeks ago. And what I always see is the information, it's so wrong. Like, people, it's so mixed about information from the E2, they're mixed with the EB5, or they don't
Yeah.
believe about the investment amount. Like, they
hmm
say, that's not true. My friend told me that he had to put $250,000. I'm like, why?
I mean, we've had like, I don't know, 80 cases over the past few years. How many have put down 250,000?
None. None.
Yeah.
The only one was the
Oh,
restaurant in New York because
yeah.
it
Well, there
was
was
a big
one.
restaurant. Yeah.
One. But
But
that's not because we advised him to.
no,
It was because he built a really high-end restaurant in
yeah.
Brooklyn.
Yes,
But
exactly. It's
yeah,
because the business. The
yeah,
business he wanted to open, that was his idea. So that's
yeah.
why he invests more. But other than that, that's not true. And I always recommend to go to people with experience, attorneys with experience. That's really, really important because there's a lot of there out there that they just like open, or they don't have the same experience, and they just feel
Exactly.
like, ah, yeah, no, or they give the wrong information.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I've heard my colleagues say somebody will come in and ask them how to do something, and they'll Google it and read about it while the person's sitting in front of them. The E2 process does require attorneys who have specific knowledge of all the processes. The devil is in the details,
Yes,
and not only that, but how business works. I
yes,
mean, we can sit and talk to a potential investor and advise them because of all of the businesses that we have set up over time. We're keeping in mind what the investment amount will be because the type of business drives the amount of investment required.
exactly,
And sometimes people come in with really grand schemes of what the business will be, and we tell them, no, 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 let's start smaller, and then we can expand the business after you get the E2.
exactly.
Because we don't want them to have to show up with $1 million investment because a grand scheme requires $1 million investment to get off the ground. Yeah. And so that's what we do. We have a very white glove service of
Yes,
helping people. We give our clients a business plan that if they follow the business plan, it's like a recipe.
yes.
If you follow the instructions, you'll make the dish right. And so if you follow the instructions, your business will be successful.
Yeah, and the good thing from your team is that they have the acknowledgement, and they do everything with the requirements for the E2
Yeah.
specifically. And any other law firms, they don't include business plans, or if they include them, it's not made for the E2 requirements. It has to have some requirements, specific requirements for the application. And as you
Yeah.
mentioned, the service that we take them from the beginning to the end and beyond.
And continue to talk to them after. Yeah, we have many
Yes.
clients that still reach out to us and say,
Oh,
I've got
yes.
this problem, and we are always there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
we really do become good friends with our clients, and we wish for their success. And it's part of our reward as the attorney to see our clients become successful and
Yeah.
thrive and meet their
Yeah.
goals.
Like the one that makes the wheels for the Hot Wheels, the little cars.
I
You
love that
know
case.
that he just opened his own brand
Oh, wow. That's
after getting
amazing.
the A2. He went like he growed a lot, and now he's opening his own brand.
And he had all along, that he has this like air of entrepreneur. You
Yes.
could tell that he just is ready and wants to move forward and to
Yes.
do it, and it paid off. He
Yeah.
has a 4-year E2, and this man, what he does is he makes the tires. He bought a little mold for the tire, for the teeny tiny little tire. That's what he does,
Yes.
and he has an E2 for 4 years,
Yeah. And
and
now he has his
his
own
own brand.
brand of cars. That's
And the
amazing.
car, he's going to be fun to watch as his career.
So as you said, that's our reward, like to see
Yeah.
how they grow, their
Yes.
success, that it's always our success.
Yes. Exactly. And that's why we're putting this video out there as the Merino party becomes the sweeping party in Mexico. And if you want to start with an E2 visa, we're here to help you. We have a free consultation with the full team, and
Yeah.
we spend time listening to your plans, listening to your issues. Maybe you have a child who's turning 21 and who will age out and not be on we listen to all the issues and make a strategy to reach as many of your goals as possible. Sometimes,
Yeah.
like I mentioned, the child turning 21, we have to think outside the box a
Yeah.
little
We
bit.
have to figure it out something else for them.
Yeah, yes. So if you guys want to talk to us, reach out to Veronica. All of her information will be at the end of this video, and she will be more than happy to start the process of just talking to us. No commitment. We want you to know about this option because it's a very, very good option for coming
Yeah.
to the U.S.
And don't be scared, because also the elections that are coming up here are a little bit uncertain for people. But the E2 is not a problem.
Oh,
It hasn't
no,
be a problem with the
absolutely not.
change of governments. Never.
In fact, I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Trump expanded the E2 program because
Yeah,
everybody agrees small business is the backbone of America. I'm hearing both candidates say that. E2s are an important part of the economic engine of the United States. So
exactly.
please, join us in the U.S. Start your business.
Exactly. And get ready to grow.
Thank you, everybody, and please reach out to Veronica, and we will be meeting you on Zoom or in Mexico City. We have offices in Polanco, and we're more than happy to meet you there as well. So just let us know.
Of course.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you for joining our podcast, and we will see you again soon. I'm
Thank
Hadley
you.
Bajramovic,
And
and
Veronica Zacharias. Thank you very much, Hadley.
bye.
Bye.